Well, I'm going to spend maybe about 25 minutes, 20 minutes to just kind of give you an overview of what I think outcome-based marketing is. I can tell a little story to begin with. I had the opportunity to do some marketing for a summer camp. And they spent about $9,000 a season, and they did that into local radio spots here in Colorado Springs and in Yellow Page ads. And so, one of the things, being a marketer and wanting results, I just said, well, how many people come from the Yellow Page ads? They said, well, we really don't know. Well, yeah, but how many people come from the radio spots? Well, we really don't know. And so I kind of created a little graph, and we stuck it on a clipboard and just asked people when they would register, hey, how'd you hear about the summer camp? And it was really interesting. Most of the people would say, well, I came here when I was a kid, or my neighbors have been sending their kid here for the last 10 years, whatever it was. And then it was almost a 50-50 kind of a thing. It was really interesting. The other half of the people said, well, I went to the website. And really found out that no one used the Yellow Pages, and no one listened to the radio spots. And I mean, the camp, a nonprofit, was really flushing $9,000 down the drain every season. And so we budget cut those two items, and we optimized the website and kind of gave it a new face. And it was not only that the camp saved $9,000, but the attendance to the camp increased by almost 80% the next year, because what we did is we were compelling on the website, and because we knew that at least 50% of the audience was coming to camp because they'd come to camp the year before, we made sure that every kid got an application for the next year, and we also dropped an application in the mail to the parents, knowing full well that the application that we gave to the kids at the camp would never get home. So that really started me thinking, a couple of years ago, just about, how do I get results? Being a small business, you do something, you don't get any results, and you go, gee, did that work? That didn't work, that worked well, it didn't work so good, and then you try another campaign and you're still not sure whether or not it's working well. So I guess I want to give you a way where you can figure out whether or not this thing is really working. Just like as soon as I figure out whether or not this thing is really working. Sure.
Wireless battery.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where I bet you got to turn it on.
Yeah.
Put my glasses on.
Will the space bar work on your back?
Oh, great. Well, here's just a quick glance at what I do. We work in, for small and medium-sized businesses, and of course, some of these aren't small and medium-sized businesses, but I think when you get a good reputation out there, then people hear about you and they come. And so a lot of the business that we get is really word of mouth, which that's really the best kind of business. Somebody else is kind of giving you that warm-up introduction, to their friend. I'm also a writer. This is my 8th book. Speak around the country. I write for a lot of the big blogs that are out there. Entrepreneur.com, for marketing profs, Technorati, Business to Community. I really enjoy that very much. So let's kind of go by this. And what are the takeaways from this little talk we're going to have? And I guess I want to focus on 3 things. I want to focus on setting realistic, attainable goals. It's one of those things where you can sit down and go, gee, I'd like to be able to have 10,000 new visitors to my website next month. Well, is that a reasonable, attainable goal, or do you have rocks in your head? I mean, you're going to be on one side of that teeter-totter or the other. You want to be able to measure your progress. I'm really amazed at how many companies, launch campaigns, launch projects, and they never have postmortems. They never really sit down and go, well, did we make it? Did we get there? We spent all that money, we spent all that time, we spent all that sweat. And what they really do is just go on to the next project. Nobody really wants to sit down and say, gee, how well did I do? that performance thing. And the other one is to have metrics that you could, that can prove that you really did reach your goal. Not that gut feeling, gosh, I think we did really well last month. Well, did you do well last month or didn't you? Let's just look at the numbers. And so the 6 things that I think are included in outcome-based marketing, if I were to define outcome-based marketing, I would say that it's a marketing method that takes empirical information and then gauges whether or not I've reached my goal. I think there are 6 components to this thing. And I'm going to go through each one of the 6. And you don't really have to take notes here. Here's the first one. The first one are materials or collateral. That's what I think an input is. It could be a web page. It could be a landing page. It could be the email blast that I send out. It could be the little ad that I have for my pay-per-click campaign. It's whatever really the prospect is going to be touched with. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, we do pretty much totally web stuff, but this obviously would work just as well for a direct marketing campaign or a direct mail campaign. Okay, it could even be social media, and there are plenty of metrics out there and plenty of analytic tools that I can use, most of which are free, where I can say, gee, is it really worth it for me to be on Facebook? I mean, I meet so many people now, and their information, their advice is immediately, oh, you need to have a Facebook fan page. And I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, but why? I mean, if I was a funeral parlor selling caskets, I don't need a Facebook fan page, right? Because, yeah, my clients are there, my prospects are there, but are they looking for me? Are they looking for my service? Well, they're not. They're sharing photos of the vacation and the graduation and the picnics and, everything else that goes on Facebook. So the materials are, the inputs are the materials that you have at your disposal for your campaign. If we look at the next thing, I call these the activities, and these are really the processes that are executed during the marketing campaign. It's the actual email blast. It's the actual webinar presentation. It's the actual tweeting, or posting on a blog. It's the, the mechanics of getting that collateral into somebody's hands. The third thing that I want to look at here are the masses. And it's really interesting that, I'll come across somebody that, will, beat on their chest that they've got, this email list of, 15,000 subscribers to their newsletter. But they can never say, how many bounces there are, how many people open the newsletter, how many people didn't open the newsletter. They send the newsletter out, maybe they use a service, maybe they don't, but they never really look at what, what's happening with that newsletter. I mean, if you were to think about an email campaign, and I don't care what industry you're in, you can go to a site, of course I'm not going to come up with the name of it now. It's called Vertical Response? Yeah, Vertical Response. Thank you for being here. That one has an industry page where you can look there and say, well, I'm a realtor, I'm an attorney, I'm in the healthcare business, and it'll tell you the average open on an email. Not the average read, not how many people click through, just the average open. And I mean, a really terrific open is 12%. A really good average is 1.5%. So if you have 5,000 people, 5,000 people are not opening your email, right? It's like way less. And I have so many people think that these 15,000 people that are their subscribers, well, those are my prospects. Well, they're not. They're not your prospects. I just want to call those people the masses. Those are all the people that I'm going to touch with my marketing campaign. Really, the next group is the group that's the most interesting to me. The next group are what I want to call opportunities. These are the people that do something. They clicked through to take my offer. They downloaded my free trial. They subscribed to my blog. They did something to move the relationship to the next level. Okay, it's not me. You know, I've already done my thing, right? I created the email, or I created the blog post, or whatever it is I did, and now I need to have them do something to show interest. Those are opportunities. And I want to take those opportunities and I want to turn those into leads, right? And then I want to turn those leads into customers. So I've got a long way to go before I actually take and can say that I've got, you know, X% in this, let's say, this pool of masses of people. The last two things I want to look at are really how you can gauge your performance, which seems like, you know, when I was working with clients and I wasn't doing search engine optimization and I wasn't doing pay-per-click, when I was just doing web design, it was interesting to me how the pay-per-click guys and the SEO guys would shy away from telling the customer, well, you know, if I'm giving you $2,000 a month, what's it going to mean to me? What's the ROI?